Okay guys, interesting. Okay guys, here's the tree. You can see it's big. It's actually diseased. And there's a lot of rotted stuff up top that's been falling out. So it's a monster. I'm betting you it's 95 foot tall. So I am gonna spike this tree. A couple reasons why here. First of all, the guy's gonna have us back in the summer to take it down, probably like 4 to 6 months from now, so he doesn't really care about it. Two, it's up here in the woods. It's not really an important tree, and if it was like in the front yard and he liked the tree and wanted to keep it, then I would not spike it just for aesthetics. But because it's back here, it's already diseased and it's going to be coming down eventually, we're going to spike it. Second thing, these are pull spikes, and if you do it right, they won't even make it through the bark. So I've spiked many oak trees. So could it hurt them? Sure, it could. Does it? Not usually. In fact, I still have a customer from about 10 years ago when I first started tree work. He has a bunch of massive pin oaks in his yard, and he'd have us there every year at the place where I used to work. This was a couple years after I started climbing, and we spiked those every year for probably 4 or 5 years, and it never hurt them. So you can see, let me get you a good view here. It's all in the technique, guys. Like if you look at that spike. It's not even in the tree. Like look, it just isn't. Look at that. Guys, it ain't even going through the bark. So the problem you get is a lot of guys, they're not good on spikes, and they have big long tree spikes, and they're constantly kicking out and shredding up the tree. If you're good and have a proper technique, you won't even be able to tell you won't even see the marks on this tree. I also clean my spikes every once in a while. You know, that's the concern, it could transmit a disease. But the main issue with spiking the oaks is that the sap comes and it attracts the bugs, attracts insects, and they get in there. And but it's not likely. I mean, this wound here can attract them. I mean, you can see, like, look at my spikes. They're not even halfway through the thick bark. So it's just an aesthetic thing, you know, and like you take a chance that you could transmit something or attract insects you don't want. On trees like this, we explain to the customer, like, he's gonna save, it's gonna be a lot cheaper if we just spike up there. So another thing I'll do sometimes is, if like the whole lead's coming off or whatever, I'll throw a line up to get up there, and then I'll just spike the lead that we're removing. But I use pull spikes, I'm pretty good with them. Even on a thin bark maple, I can go up it with spikes and you won't be able to see the marks or anything. Like, I'm not really kicking them in, I'm just putting my weight on it. Like, what is with this rope? There it is. And I mean, that some of that has to do with the knees out, ass out technique that I use. Because when you use the other technique, you really have to kick to get them to go in. But just like, watch, I want to show you something here. Look, can you guys see my spike? I'm not gonna kick it in, I'm just gonna set it. I'm just gonna set it there and stand up. So now let me go back down, take it out. You can see it didn't even go in the bark. Like, that's a scratch. There's no hole there. You know what I mean? Here, where it's thin barked, we have a slight mark there. This one's coming off though, so it don't matter. So again, watch, here's another spot. Just gonna set it there. Up I go. I'll show you guys the marks on the way down.
Think about woodpeckers, guys. Woodpeckers
just make more sense that way.
Do they die? No. And those are big holes. Even this tree I'm climbing right now, you'll see there's big holes up there. The tree still has life to it. It's still alive. These spikes, even if I had tree spikes and was kicking them way in, they're such tiny holes, it wouldn't hurt the tree. The problem is they attract insects, and then the insects get in there, or you can transmit diseases from your spikes. If you spiked another tree that had a disease, you can transmit it that way.
Okay, I see you at the top. Alright guys, I'm at this first union here. I have two options. I can go tie in up there somewhere, climb out, free climb out this awkward stuff, or I can go tie in way up here, swing over, although it's gonna be a far.
I'm gonna read something to you guys about this bark. As long if you're spiking a tree and the spikes don't make it through the bark, it's perfectly fine, and I'm gonna explain why. So right here. The outer bark is a tree's protection from the outside world, continually renewed from within. What does that mean? It means the bark grows. Each year the tree grows, the bark gets thicker, and it puts on a new layer of it. As long as you're not making it through the bark, it's perfectly fine. I'll skip some of this, and it says, it insulates against cold heat and wards off insect enemies. So the bark protects the tree from insects, and this is where spiking causes a problem, because you go through the bark into the tree and then the insects get inside the tree. As long as you don't make it through the bark, you're perfectly fine. And even if you do make it through the bark, it doesn't mean that insects are gonna come. It just means they could.
He had it tested. I forget what they said it had. But it was something. Then again, you never know with those things. Seems like they come up with a new disease every freaking week. Anyhow, I'm gonna shut this off till I go up there and tie it. Alright guys, we're tied in. You can see right here where this piece broke off before. There's all kinds of cavities and stuff in this tree. It's actually in pretty bad shape. Although at first glance it looks healthy and alive, it isn't. It's doing pretty bad. So we're just gonna take as much weight out as we can for now, and then we'll come back when the guy's ready for us to drop it up in the...
I'm gonna be honest here, and it's gonna upset up quite a few people. The problem with spiking is most people, they're not good on spikes. They really aren't. They're kicking out constantly, and they're kicking them in there, and they can't, you know, when you just gently put your weight on it, they won't even go into the bark. Like, you guys are gonna, I really hope you watch to the end of the video, because at the end of the video, I'm gonna show you close-ups of this bark and all these spike marks. They're basically non-existent. This takes practice.
I hate climbing with gloves, especially these thick ones. Probably gonna have to do is take these gloves off, as much as I don't want to. Eric! What? Mate, I don't care. Okay, give me a new one. I gotta cut a couple pieces of wood. Alright guys, I'm gonna pause this. Oh yeah, it's moving. Oh yeah. Dude, this would be so fun to zip line this right over top of that gazebo. Nice height, dude. It would zip all the way out to the road. it would be awesome. But the stuff stays, so we're just roping it here. Got one more. Okay guys, you can see the hole here. Hole here. Can you guys see that hole? So like I said, this thing's diseased, guys. Big time. There's another hole there. I don't know if you guys can see the awkwardness of it. There's a hole there also. When I'm tied in, I'd like to went up this limb, tied in way up there, but you know. Let me know when that's untied. Okay. Boy guys, that wind, let me tell you. So let's go put bowline out for. We have a pretty good stub right here so it won't slip off. You gotta let this one run. Ready? So much for letting it run. For bending it. A big limb. Well, you also got a half a wrap over here where I have the rope through down there, so that's actually good. That's helping support the weight instead of it pulling directly down on this piece here. It's helping pull it down in compression. But it is bending this pretty good. I don't know if you guys can tell. You can feel it, it's moving right in, like right here. So I think that's all I gotta do. Flush that up. And then, you know, it's between now or taking this whole lead off, but I didn't want to do that because we could just drop this whole tree up the hill when we come to take it out, and it would just be an extra cost that is unnecessary. So it's one of those situations, like, I'm glad I used the spikes, because in order to do this without the spikes, well, what I had to have done was throw my rope way up in this top, up there. But then I'm pulling all this tension down on this, and there's no, and it's leaning so hard, you're bending it with tension and not compression, and that's when they break out. And that hole is pretty deep, guys. I mean, it's bad. So, and we have more holes down in here, and the whole tree is rotted. You can see in my cuts, even the live ones, like there's a hole in this limb, and as you can see, the inside is diseased. It's definitely diseased badly. I mean, look at the stub where my climb line is. You can see it's brown. There should be a white, bright pinkish white. Like, see, that one's not as bad. But you can see there, see how it's black on the inside of that stub? It's disease. This is red oak. So it should be bright pink right now. So again, guys, here's another decay pocket. You can't see in there, it's super deep. There's a lot of dirt and rot in there. It's pretty bad. It's not just like a hole, like water's been sitting in there rotting this out for a long time. So if this piece were to fall now, it would miss the gazebo. It would go over there, most likely, unless the wind blew it. But like I said, we're gonna be back to take this tree down. It might even be back sooner than what he was anticipating because of these holes. Here's another spot, hole that's going down. I'm betting you the rock goes down into this area. It's not going to be all the way through this piece here, but it's going to be down in here pretty deep. So you guys can see, like right here is one of my spike marks. It didn't even make it through the bark. Here's one that did, so I went between. But like this too, like it's not, you can't tell, but it's not even through the bark. This is super thick bark. And what you guys don't know is I actually did this twice. Like look, here's another one. I don't know, can you guys see that? That's like, if I peeled that bark off right now, that's not even going through. And then, let's find another. Like look, it's so hard to even find them. Here's one. Put it down. So here's one here. Again, it just gripped into the bark right here. I hope you guys can see that. So guys, here's another one. Just scraping the bark here. They're not even going into the tree. See, here's one. Look at that, just into the bark. Like you can see I'm peeling the bark off, and that's where the mark ends. These ones are into this collar. I'm gonna take this branch off in a minute, but I want to show you, get these hangers and show you guys the rest of these marks first. So again, here's another one. They're not even going through the bark, guys. Hey, I got a hanger above you, Brett.
Alright.
Ready? See any more? So again, guys, here's one. You can't even tell. Like, look, here's another one. They're not. This is what I mean. You can spike these trees if you do it right. Check out my fancy climbing glove pocket.
I really hope you guys can see just how little those spikes are making it through this bark. Even if they were going like 90% through the bark, it still wouldn't matter, because next year it's going to put on a new underlayer of bark. It's going to get thicker, it's going to push that out, and there's still going to be, it's still going to retain its protection from the outside world. I hope you guys liked the video. If you do, smash the like button, consider subscribing. Just to clarify, I'm not telling people to spike trees or spike trims. All I'm saying is sometimes you can. Sometimes spiking is the safest thing to do, and other times you don't want to spike them. So I'm just showing you it's possible to do it without hurting the tree.